History does not determine football games. Oklahoma is not the same team this year that they were last year, their first year in the SEC, yet they continue to get disrespected by this conference because the changes and the improvements that Brent Venables has made have been overlooked. This offense was atrocious in 2024, mainly due to Brent Venables whiffing on the promotion of Seth Luttrell to replace Jeff Lebby as his offensive coordinator, not getting it right at quarterback. Jackson Arnold was really bad last year. He was so bad when Oklahoma played Tennessee to the point where I literally thought that he got paid by Vegas to lose that game on purpose, just with how he was giving out turnovers like it was Christmas in October. And with Brent Venables completely overhauling the offense, bringing in an influx of talent in the portal with John Mateer, who follows Ben Arbuckle from Washington State to Norman, there's a really good chance that Oklahoma can compete for the college football playoffs. Oklahoma has always been able to compete with some of the best programs in college football, the SEC included. Brent Venables' first 2 years, he brought in top 10 recruiting classes. We seem to forget that he also has beaten Texas. Yet, the SEC still continues to look down upon Oklahoma like they're Northwestern, like they're Vanderbilt, like they're just some pushover program. And that's why this season, Oklahoma is about to put an end to the SEC disrespect, because I expect this to be a 9, possibly 10-win team with the improvements that Brent Venables has made. He's taken over the play calling on defense. Even though he didn't call the plays in the past, he still has had a big influence on how the defense is ran. And offensively, with John Mateer, your offense is going to be tremendously improved just with you at the bare worst getting average quarterback play. If Oklahoma had average quarterback play last year, they probably would have been an 8-win team due to how good their defense was. The problem holding this program back has nothing to do with talent. It has everything to do with execution on the field, and that's something that Oklahoma didn't do a good job of last year, mainly due to injuries. When Oklahoma's 2024 season gets talked about, what often gets left out is the amount of injuries that they suffered before the season even started. The Oklahoma season was done right after fall camp concluded. They had injuries on the offensive line, at receiver. You got a new OC with the new quarterback that's young, doesn't have that much experience. When you're in a conference as competitive and deep as what the SEC is, when you're down multiple starters and you got to start a lot of freshmen and you don't really have a lot of depth, it doesn't matter if you're Georgia, Alabama, Texas, or anybody, you're not going to be able to survive in the SEC. You're going to get eaten alive. Injuries are a killer for a lot of teams that could have promising seasons. And it's just one of those things where if you're Brent Venables, you got to act like last year never really happened. Of course, you have to acknowledge the mistakes that you made, which he has, which is why he has Ben Arbuckle calling the plays now on offense, which is why he has Jackson Arnold now gone and has replaced him with John Mateer. You're bringing in top-tier talent out of the portal. Brent Venables has a lot to prove this year. I'm not holding water for him. I'm not making excuses for him. I know and he knows that he's coaching for his job this year. But the changes that Brent Venables has made to Oklahoma football this offseason is definitely going to pay dividends on the field this year, and you definitely can see significant improvement in the win column despite them having the toughest schedule in college football. Look, everybody that plays in the SEC has a tough schedule. Even if you don't have as many away games as what Oklahoma has, or you don't have to play as many of the top tier teams. We saw Alabama lose to Oklahoma. Despite Alabama being the strong favorite to win that game, they were expected to blow out OU. We saw Kentucky, the worst team in the SEC last year, beat Ole Miss, who is one of the better teams in this conference. Despite how difficult the schedule may look, everybody's playing a difficult schedule in the SEC. This conference has shown time in and time out that you can't overlook anybody that you play, no matter if you're playing them at home or on the road. So Oklahoma's schedule being tough still doesn't scare me away from my prediction that this is going to be a 9-win team and a possible college football playoff contender. If Oklahoma goes 9-3 this year, I definitely can see them getting into the CFP as a 12th or 11th seed. A 9-win team, a 3-loss team is going to get into the playoffs. And we would have had one last year if Ole Miss and Alabama didn't have the upset losses that they sustained. But what happened to Alabama and Ole Miss perfectly shows why strength of schedule is kind of overrated now. You could go up against teams that before the season on paper look to be really good, and then the season rolls around and they're not that great. And you could see teams that may be projected to be bad, like how Vanderbilt was last year, and end up being a halfway decent team. It's too early to judge Oklahoma and their strength of schedule as a reason for why they have no shot at making it to the playoffs when the talent's there. They got good quarterback play. We know the defense is going to be good. The defense is never a question when it comes to Brent Venables. And if they're able to stay healthy, this will be the most improved team in college football this year.